mask configuration. So the thing is to avoid configuration by power, where you have to go inside every data point and activate the address and change the right addressing string. To avoid that, we can also perform an export of database components and edit it by third-party tools like Notepad++ or Microsoft Excel and all that stuff. So for that, we will find here in the system management, under database, the ASCII manager. So let's take a look on that. Open it and let's do first an export of our damper. So I will write here the name export. I will also do here a power config output. So I'm dealing here with format 3 and damper will be attached automatically. We have here special outputs, format 3 and format 4. The difference is 1 data point per line or 1 data point element per line. So we will see. Let's take that one here, format 3. And then let's take that damper here on the data point type selection. Insert it by clicking here. And then simply start. You can see that the name was rearranged, export format 3, damper ASCII. And on that here, you can directly open it in the editor, and that here should be the icon for to open it in Microsoft Excel, but for some reason it's gray. So let's try it. Open with Excel here. If I go to DP list folder, so that all exports are stored in the DP list, and I will open that here with Microsoft Excel. Let's see where that is situated. Oh, let's do it in another way. Let's open Microsoft Excel first. Pardon? And we open it as at what? I CSV as comma separated value file. Okay. More or less, it's an ASCII file. So export of damper ASCII, and you can open it with Microsoft Excel. So what I did, I simply opened Excel and drag and dropped the file here inside Microsoft Excel. If you don't have Microsoft Excel installed, as an alternative, you can directly open it here with a text editor, or you can also open it with Notepad++ or a tool of your choice. Microsoft Excel has the benefit that I have rows and columns, right? And also Microsoft Excel has you can use a macro, which is offered by WinCCOA. So if you have a 32-bit version, and you can figure that out if you click here on About Excel, and if there is 32-bit available, you can also install a macro. And the macro, I will show you that, is here on add-ins. And yes, of course, there will be security. So you have to enable macros over here. And this macro can be configured to also use these icons to open the data from the dplist folder and also directly re-upload change data into the database of WinCC UA. To get this add-on driven, you will find it in the installation of WinCC UA, so under 3.19. Then that will also be available under data. Let's see, XLS power config, and there is a macro. So you can also double click this macro, and on a 32-bit version it will then be implemented here as an add-in over here. Try that if we have a 32-bit version. It will make the mask configuration a little bit easier. If it's not working for you, I will show you how to deal with that without the macro. So the main reason for the macro is to automatically change the first column, because that's our action identifier, which means here is an I, and I means, so I will also document that here. The macro, the Microsoft Excel macro. So we have here an initial I, which stands for inserted. Then we have also an M available, which stands for modified. And there's also a D available for delete. And that is the first column action. So if I make a change here, I have then an automatically change in the first column. Without a macro, you have to do that this change manually. You can also see that there you have the ability to specify and WinCC UA login data, so you can browse here to the config file of the project. That will be that one here. Then you automatically get the version, and then you need a user and an empty password. And if you do that, you can then for example load the dplist from WinCC UA in here, or update the list, or transfer to WinCC UA, and everything here also available on the icons. But you can also do everything manually. So Slavisa, do you have 32-bit version available, or yes? Did you get the macro? Okay. So what you can do, so this is completely optional, right? You can do the WinCC UA login here, where you browse to the config file of your project, and automatically the OA version path will then be set. Then you have to insert the username, take root, and an empty password for here to have full support of the macro. In the end, you should have loaded here the ASCII file. That's the point. Okay, so let's go through this ASCII file. We see all the data points of Damper, also the master data point. We see here -1, so this is the default config, which can be changed here. Here will be the upper range, 100 out of the PV range. Here will be the lower range. Here will be the default value of response act value, and here it is the command, and so on. So for each column you have one configuration out of a config which is inside this structure. So for example, I can go from the PV range here all on 90. I'm simply demonstrating right now. You don't have to do the same, because I will also change it back and load another kind of file in here. So there is also alert active. Here is wrong. Oh, let's see that on D2. So then let's activate the alarm here. Also here, alarm traveling. Maybe Matthias did that. And you can see on each line where I changed that, there is now an M inside, yeah, for modified. And now I will simply do, I will save that file. And now I can go here and say, transfer the list to WinCCUA. That is one possibility. But if I don't have the macro, yeah, and these features will not be available, then I can also, as I did, simply save it. And here I can simply say import, because here the file name did not change. And then I go here, I check all 3 boxes, which I highly recommend. And then let's click on start here. And this dialog will always rise up. That's normal. So let's see. Now in the para, was there a change on the act value PV range? No, then I think I took the set point PV range. Yeah, 0 to 90. So I can mass engineer all that data. So proved. Let's change it back. I will again take here power config output, damper here inside, and I take here export F3 2. I will start it, and then I will load the new data inside. In here, and change it back, because that was simply a change to present in here. And I can change it back, and I can also do that here. Look at that. I copy one line, I paste it, I give a new name, can be any name, right? As long we are following the rules of naming. I will save that here. I will go back here and say import. Let's click on start. Sounds good. We'll go back and open our para. And now, oh, magically here's Chris with all the data. So you can also replicate data points or insert new data points over here. Let's do an export for the, go for it. So data names are unique. So it will, yeah. It depends on the severity. So it will stop importing. In some cases, it is ignoring. In the end, you will read that in the error dialog, which is at the end. There you will see if the procedure was stopped. Should, yeah, should. You will also have a partition list. So if something it works, and then it stopped for some reason, because at the end of the list there was a mistake by using a not unique name like that. That same. I will show you next how to do it with the macro. You will have the same dialog. So I will go here on export, power config output per line, and now I will take here the S7. How was that called? Or did we? I need some addresses simply. So let's see. I think here in the OPC test there's a lot of data, and here is also address configs. So let's take a look on these address configs. So that's why I'm taking now that here. Again, I take the format free. So let's test it. So start here. Good, done. Then here is the OPC UA test. Here we are. Here we are, and now let's do, I have only the addresses here, right? So I have to change here this D1 and this D1 to D2, for example. Or there is a D2 in the middle. Now is a D4. Okay, so ignoring the master data point, let's go here to D2 and D3, and also here D2 and D3. And then let's also activate that. And you can also do that, right? And if you make a string concatenation in Microsoft Excel, then you can also do it like that here, if you do the right formulas inside. Okay, so let's go now on the add-in. Let's check again, config root, no password, and then transfer all to WinCCUA. So let's see what's happening. Password for root, enter key. Okay, let's prove it. Maybe this is only the message, or it's not working this feature because not ready for SQLite. So let's see. Let's prove it. I like to prove things before. So that would be then here test number 2. Address config, it's not active, so test 2 should be true with tempo 2. So, and it didn't work. Okay, then let's do it in another way. Let's simply say save here, and let's go back to the ASCII manager as I did before, and I will click on start here. That looks good. And now let's prove it in the para, and now it's active, but the string is not here. Why is the string not here? Test 2 true, true. Oh, that looks good. Let's take a look on test number 3. Oh, maybe I did it here. Reopen the para. No, you only have to do that here. You don't have to reopen. No. No. No, should be. That was too much. Should not count. So here's the para again. Test number 2. Oh, for some reason the item ID was not done, but the activation was. Anyway, I will. Yeah, but not in that case. I will come to that. So the if we deal with this format of format 3, so this one, power config format 3, that only works with power configs and a master data point, and it's easygoing, straightforward, what you have seen. We have to take care about the disprep on the regular export, but I will come to that later. First, I want to test that here again to go sure if it's buggy or not. So again, I want to export format 3 again with that here. Let's click on start. Then let's go here. Where is it? Is that right? Export 3 OPC. Let's do here a second just to go sure. Export format 3 2. Okay, here it is. Let's open it in here. Here we are, and now let's modify the test again. So we have an output. We have an output here. D1, D2. So there is an output with the right data but not shown in the para. That's funny, I would say. So, oh, don't name it bug. It's a feature. It's a feature. So let's see if I do on the command 66. There should be control manager with number 2 OPC UA client, so we did not change here. Oh, it started. I checked that. It started. So the address here is active. The item ID is not visualized, but it can be queried from the database. So that's weird and seems to be buggy. So D5, or you name it feature. Right, so let's go here, export, import with the same name here. and go into para, test 3. Okay, that is buggy, guys. So let's do a screenshot. Yeah, yes, right. Save as on the desktop. SQLite ASCII export import format 3. Seems to be there needs some fixing on here. Let's try it with another format, and let's also do here let's go here and let's do transfer to all data points. So to write the data from the master data point on here, so that looks good. Well, let's see. Okay, and now let's do it with a regular export. So the regular export has a different format. So I will go here, I will write export regular, and here on the regular export you can specify what should be exported, right? So you can only, for example, do the data point type, right? I will only do the data point type here, and I will also do a T here in the name, that I can see the data point, or let's say the export characteristic on the name, and then I will do it with the damper, for example, and I will say start here, and then I will load that here. Here we are, and that looks like familiar. Or if you take a look on here on the damper, that is the data point type, for example. So you have here your data point elements. You have also a number for the type. So here is 22, 23, so that's a boolean, and that's a float, and the number behind is simply a number from 1 to 12. And if you want to modify that here, let's say you want to do a new data point element with the name Chris, and maybe Chris should be a boolean. So like that, you do simple here the number, but not the hash and then the following number, because the following number is assigned from the system itself. Then I will click here on save, go back on here, do import, check all 3 boxes, say start, got the same dialog on here, and on the para There was the GRIS data point, and here is the GRIS data point element. So you can also extend here from the database dumps, change it and re-import it. Or other version, I will do an export. It will be a regular export, and I will do, for example, the parameterization. I will have the address config, and here if I deal with the address config, I have to do also the distrib config. So these both are together in the regular export. And then I take here P. I will do it now for the OPC UA power config. So I can have a power config, but I can also do the regular export. If there is no power config, you have to live with the regular export. And let's click here on start. And then let's load it in here. And you will see that's the distrib. And that is the address config. So, and here on test 2, let's do here D2 test command and test2 respond, right? Test2 to respond, D2. There will be also a column for active or not, right? Address active, so here on test2 command, address active 1, and here on test2 response. Was that the right column? Address active, yes. 1. Good. Let's save that. Then let's go back. Import that. Let's click on start. Sounds good. And here on the OPC test2 activated D2, so that's working without any issues. Driver number 2. Yeah, that's working perfectly, like it should. In the end, you have to decide which formats are applicable, how you do the mass engineering, and so on. You can also do that here. Like I delete that and that. So if you want to have an export from a whole database, then you will go regular, then you click all that here. You are on configs all, and you will not take a choice here. So all data points will be exported. So you're generating more files, I assume, but let's see. Export regular all. Let's click on start here. And here now everything is in the file, right? I would not do changes here. I would only do it like here to export, import, to get a new copy of the database, because look at here, we are dealing here with different formats in here, dependent what we are exporting, and that's the overkill, right? That will be too much to maintain, right? So I highly recommend to only do specific things in here. So let's say you're working in a team and one of the team is creating a new data point type. Maybe you're working on a version control system. You will do export to get the database versioned, and the team members will then make let's say a git pull, and there will be then new data point list, and you have to import first the data point lists, right, to get that versioned. And I will only make export of that I really changed. So maybe I did a new data point type, I created some data points, I did some values on it which is needed for my project, and I take the original values. Also were there comments on the common config? Yes, then I will take that here in addition. Are there references or power config setting and so on? So always from minimum to maximum, yeah, as much I really need, and also with good namings like export regular TDAP to know exactly what's done, and then you can upload that in your Git repository, for example.